Hello everybody, good morning, welcome to the United Stand. Sorry we are a little bit late today, we had to do a bit of chopping and changing around. For anyone asking why Mark isn't here on the show right now, he's filming with Ben Foster. That video will be out later. Committed to bringing you all the best content as always through the World Cup and on the United Stand. That's football, United Stand, we're bringing you everything. We've got plenty to talk about this morning. I want to go in detail on some more of what Mark was talking to Romano about yesterday. Well, we've got the chance this morning, and also talk about a very close and personal interview that David Ornstein from The Athletic did with Luke Shaw last night as well. We'll get into that in detail probably towards the back end of this show. First of all, it's the Glazers, it's the ownership. I'll get your guys' opinions on the ownership model. There will be a chance for you to have your say on this one. I want to bring you up on the types of ownership that you want to see at Manchester United. I've not spoken too much about this. I know Beth and Charlie have done a video on this before and they've spoke about what's best for United, what type of ownership. I've got my opinion. I want your guys in on that. I want your guys' opinions in on that as well and what you think is best for the club moving forward. Obviously, I did the breaking news one the morning after the Glazers and the football club announced the club being sold or up for sale as such. We're now moving on to the next stage. We're a week on pretty much from that now, and I want to get your opinions on what you think. You've heard about rumours of certain ownership models. You've looked at certain articles, interviews who might be on the table. I want to know what you think, and I want to know exactly what type of ownership model you would prefer. Do you want just the sugar daddy with endless, bottomless pits of money? An Arab sovereign fund? Do you want another American ownership, one that's better structured though, so Jim Radcliffe? There are plenty of options out there for us, and we want to get into actually what has been said, because Fabrizio Romano was talking about this yesterday as well and said that there are already plenty of offers on the table, plenty of groups. So obviously we're looking at consortiums here as well, and this is where I wanted to get your guys' opinions on everything, because it's like a consortium. Does that put fear into you? Does that make you feel like it's the American model that's coming into the football club again and that's what we need to stay well clear of? Or is it just about the structure of it? I've not heard anything of any sort of rich, like we said, a sovereign wealth fund or anything like that coming yet. Nothing from Saudi Arabia, nothing concrete or anything like that. It could come to it in the end. Obviously, the World Cup is taking priority at the moment, so lots of people are probably looking and working in the background towards Manchester United and putting offers forward on the table. I feel like once the World Cup is done, I feel like this will go into overdrive and everything will be about Manchester United, the possible takeover, owners, who could be coming to the table. We could get a surprise in terms of who comes to the table and puts a bid in for Manchester United. You just don't know. I do feel like there is a mask at the moment, and that is the World Cup. The World Cup is taking preference, and when that finishes on the 18th of December, I believe that it will start going all on Manchester United and we will be completely dominating the headlines. I mean, it's bound to happen. It is the biggest football club in the world, and the fact that it's up for sale, only the World Cup could really compete with that news. But yeah, that's where I see it, and I think it will just go completely crazy once the World Cup finishes. But Romano has been talking, and we've been told, we've heard a rumour that there are quite a lot of offers on the table already for Manchester United. Romano has said exactly the same thing. Like I said just a second ago, the groups are sort of positioning themselves now, financially structuring deals. I think one thing you could say in terms of the World Cup being on, you could say that obviously while the World Cup's going on, a lot of work can get done behind the scenes. There's no actual club football. The club will be busy in sort of negotiating as such, maybe actually talking to suitors that could come in and take over Manchester United. So a lot of work can be done whilst the World Cup is on. So really you would say that the World Cup's come at a good time, and maybe why it was all announced just before the World Cup starting that Manchester United were up for sale, because you can now get to work in the background while there's a load of palaver, and the world's media are pretty much all camped out in Qatar right now covering that. You could say United could get some real groundwork done, and the people we know at the football club and the contacts we've had, they are very, very busy at the moment at Manchester United. So I feel like they could make a bit of a head start in terms of when everything comes back to normal, because this time of year you're normally looking at it being completely crazy. We're looking at a packed out fixture list, everyone's running around everywhere, but the World Cup has taken centre stage, and I feel like I just said then, it works out quite well for United in a way that we can actually get some groundwork done and actually start working with possible suitors, structuring deals and looking at what is the best option. And I think Manchester United as a football club have to be looking into this. The powers that be, ultimately it is the Glazers that will make the decision, we know that, but there are some powerful figures at Manchester United and they will not want to be working in an environment under the pressure cooker that they are now. That's with the scrutiny from the media, the fans, the protests. Everything about the football club right now is under the microscope, but not for the right reasons. So the football club would probably have to look at it now and go, let's take advantage of this time. Let's make sure that we get the right possible new owners coming in. Let's look at what they're going to offer, how they want to structure it. Do we get fan involvement, clearing the debts? I think one thing that the football club has to put forward to any possible new ownership model is that there is no debt. The Premier League have got a system in place now which doesn't allow the ownership model, which was back then when the Glazers bought Manchester United in 2005. That cannot happen anymore. So the leveraging of debt does look like them days are actually over for football club ownership, which is good for Manchester United. The biggest thing out of all of this, impossible new ownership coming in, like I said, that debt has to be cleared. The club cannot be leveraged with any debt at all. It would just be going back to where it was. It would be as it was, but with new ownership or a new name at the helm. That's all it would be. Nothing's changed, and they would be looking to pretty much do a similar sort of ownership to what the Glazers had, which is the road we don't want to be going down. We don't need owners that are looking to line their pockets predominantly from this new deal. We want the owners to actually be investing money into the club and looking at the club's best interests at heart. That is being successful on the pitch. The football club, the powers that be, whether it be Ed Woodward, whether it be Matt Judge, whether it be Richard Arnold, have always come out and said, and they've always said this when the quarterly figures have come about, and it's always been the same. It's always been a load of spiel in my book, but they've always said, look, the main priority at this football club is to actually progress on the pitch, to be successful on the pitch, and I think that's the big thing in all of this. Manchester United have to be successful on the pitch. I do believe that if we are successful on the pitch, then we will bring even more money in. So ownerships must be looking at that and going, yes, we can make a lot of money through commercial activity at Manchester United, but look at the prize funds that are on at the moment. Look how much money. And it's no surprise that City's revenues are sort of creeping up with Manchester United. We get the better endorsements and sponsorship deals, but Manchester City, with their success on the pitch and going far in competitions, finals, winning trophies, finishing top of the Premier League, their revenues and the matchday revenues that come with that generate so much more money. So it would be in the best interest of any ownership model to actually want to succeed on the pitch even more. And with that, you would get better deals. I'm no business expert in terms of sports franchise or anything like that, but when you look at it, you've got to go, surely, when you break it down, this is exactly what Manchester United should be looking at. This is what we should be doing. Must build long term. That is the stance, Adam. Is over 4 or 5 years. The debt will be cleared as part of the sale. No serious buyer will buy a club with debt still there. That's from a few comments in the comment section. Now, this will take months to sell a club, especially big clubs. Look at the books. That's exactly it. It's like that comment there from Bear. It says, and he's a Liverpool fan by the look of it. In terms of Manchester United and the Liverpool, the books will have to be looked at. And like I said, with the stance that the Premier League has now got on all new ownership models coming in and the new criteria that needs to be met going forward, I think everything will have to be scrutinised. Manchester United are very, very comfortable in terms of money. And the amount of money that comes through, the amount of money that comes through the doors, without that leveraged debt hampering us and the interest payments on that, if you invest and you clear that debt, which is what, like $500 million now on its own near enough, which is absolutely staggering. It's crazy how much debt Manchester United are in. But if you're having to pay that, if you're having to cover that, you've got to look at it as a businessman coming into Manchester United and buying Manchester United. You have to look at that and go, right, what can I bring back? Success on the pitch brings back so much. You know, commercial revenues and sponsorship deals, they can bring so much more of that back. The ownership model coming in needs to be looking at this as a 20, 30-year plan. It's as simple as that in my eyes. You're not just going to be able to clear Manchester United's debts and start earning Brewsters back on that straight away. Whoever comes in and buys it, especially if it's a consortium, a business group, there's going to be a lot of negotiating and there's going to be a lot of work to put in before this gets anywhere near over the line for Manchester United. The rumours are that it could be done, dusted before the start of the summer window, which is very good for us, especially if it comes to the transfers and bringing players in. But you have to be patient with this. There were rumours that it could be done and dusted before Christmas. If that was some sovereign wealth fund coming in, I could see that easily. But if this is a consortium, if this is a business group, Manchester United's deal and this sale will not get done for a few months yet. And why I said at the start, the fact that the World Cup's on now and a lot of groundwork can be done is very, very good for Manchester United. It gives us that little bit of an edge, not an edge, a little bit of a step up, a step ahead in terms of negotiating and making sure everything's right. Like the comments said, you need to be looking through the books, you need to be looking at the plan. How much has we dropped off with the failure to actually be competing in the football side of things and not being able to get to finals, not being able to progress far, finishing outside of the Champions League? They'll be looking at year on year on year on books and exactly how much money is lost. If Manchester United are competing every single season, we're continuously in that Champions League spot, then that covers a lot of the problems for these owners. So the initial investment into what Ten Hag wants, that plan, the infrastructure will come in time. I do think the initial investment has to be to stabilise the playing squad and actually keep us in that top four and challenging for every honour that there is and going as far as we possibly can in each competition that we enter. And that will cover a lot of the money that these owners are investing in. It doesn't take rocket science to figure out exactly how Manchester United will progress. On the pitch brings better sponsorship, better revenues, more match day revenues. It has to be priority number one. Playing staff, get behind Ten Hag, then start to build in the infrastructure, the stadium, the training ground. That has to be the long-term plan. 20, 30-year plan for any new ownership model coming in right now is a must for Manchester United. This isn't going to be an ownership that's going to look at a 5 to 10-year plan. This isn't going to be. It seems like we've had the Glazers as owners for a very, very long time, going on nearly 2 decades. Yes, it has to be double that. This is the sort of investment that someone's coming in to make now. I think it has to be long term. We're talking, like I said, 20, 30-year plan for all of this to come through. It's going to be slow, but the initial investment, I think, needs to be put into the squad, keep United relevant on the pitch. That brings in the extra revenues and the monies and the sponsorships, the endorsements that come with that, and they can balance the books better. The influctuations because of the way Manchester United has been run, the out of the Champions League, the revenues dropping from that, the TV revenues. And like I didn't even mention the TV revenue that being in competitions for so long brings. It's not rocket science. It's straightforward. When groups, especially in consortiums, are looking at Manchester United, that's what they have to be looking at, in my opinion. I just feel like it will just help in terms of any sort of financial setup or financial model that they're putting in place. Super chat in from Rachel Brown. Just for that, that's what United forget to do. Successful on the pitch, the rest will take care of itself. Totally agree, mate. Thanks for backing me up on that one. But guys, let me know what you think. It won't take 30, 40 years for the Glazers to take the debt. I'm not sure what you're talking about with that one. Adam, you must bring in owners before Christmas. I want to buy a new Casemiro in January. In a perfect world, mate, in a perfect world, if it is some rich sovereign wealth fund or anything like that, it could be possibly done quicker. If it is groups like Fabrizio Romano was saying and what he was saying yesterday on the show, then this is going to take a lot longer. Would you have any issue with it going as the way it is right now? The steady success on the pitch, we make top four, we have new ownership come in after the season finishes, there's no World Cup or Euros this summer, a full summer to look at everything. Look at the full infrastructure of this football club's playing staff, break it down. New ownership may be the ones that come in and say, look, as part of this investment, if we're taking Manchester United seriously, then we have to cut these contracts off. If we're going to take a loss on players that are just sat there doing nothing, so be it. That's part of the investment as well. That has to come into it. And you can see why this will all take so long. The clauses in the contracts for the players. That's why so many players are sat at Manchester United doing nothing, because the agents have just took Manchester United for a ride over the years. They've just put clauses in contracts, made it So Manchester United have complete power, but on the side of that, their client as an agent is earning absolute roosters. And I feel like that is part of the structure that needs to change as well. And for me, anyone coming in to buy Manchester United needs to be on that more than anything. The structure of how contracts are dealt with, players, how many Manchester United players are on the books that are actually contributing to Manchester United right now, because there's an awful lot that aren't. I mean, I did a video where I broke down 5 players that are costing Manchester United now on £16 million a season that don't kick a ball. They don't kick a ball, and it's absolutely criminal how a football club of Manchester United size can have that within the squad. I understand there are squad players and there are fringe players, but Manchester United have players that aren't even fringe or squad players because they don't do anything. They don't even get a place in the training ground. They don't train with a first-team squad, and they're earning first-team squad money and still training possibly with the under-21s. It is crazy. Whoever comes in as a Manchester United owner now has to bring in a director of football. They have to bring in a structure. It needs to be a team. Like when Manchester City went out and got Pep Guardiola, he brought a team with him. His own directors, his own sporting directors, everything. And if you listen to any interview that Pep Guardiola does, when he's talking about when he's won something or when he's been successful, anytime he says, or an interviewer asked him, like, how have you done it? You've done this. Are you proud of yourself of what you've achieved? He always mentions his team. We have done this. Pep Guardiola doesn't come as a single individual. He takes the plaudits, but Pep Guardiola comes with a team. He comes with his own squad who are completely in sync with his vision, and that's what's important at a football club. Klopp has the same thing at Liverpool. Klopp has people telling him, no, you're not buying that player. These players who we have scouted are the players that you need at in your football team because these fit your system and your philosophy. Klopp's put them people in charge of that side of it to tell him no. It's not the manager has the biggest say. It's about the structure and what's above the manager that counts more than anything. And I think sometimes the manager isn't even the most important person in the football club. Yes, he is. He's the one that comes out, speaks for everybody. He's got the biggest job in the football club. But when you give the manager the power to bring in his team, it is solely on him. And the most successful football clubs in the world back their manager and actually work alongside their manager in a way that suits him and his vision and philosophy. And that's what Manchester United and this ownership model needs. We could actually see our first proper director of football with this ownership. It's a must. It has to happen. Some of the people that are working at Manchester United right now are going to have to take a step aside and say, well, new ownership comes in, I can't expect to be in my job. I can't expect to actually still be in my position at Manchester United. I'm going to have to just put my case across to any new ownership model. And this is why it takes long and why it's going to be so complicated. It does become easier with a very, very wealthy one-man ownership sort of model. I understand that. And that could well still happen. We don't know it yet. We don't know enough information as to what's going on behind the scenes. We're just hearing rumours that Manchester United are attracting an awful lot of attention when it comes to suitors for the football club and going forward. It's all good news. It's all good news. There's no bad news yet. It will be bad when we start finding out that we've got Glazers Part 2 coming in. But like I said at the start, the new structure from the Premier League should put a stop to any leveraged debt going onto Manchester United. And we should be looking at a completely different setup in terms of ownership model, and that is everything good that Manchester United need right now at this football club. Just going through some of your comments there. Phil Jones' agents might be the best. Phil Jones' agents are the best in the world, whoever they are. How he has lasted so long at Manchester United on the wages that he's on is just off the scale. Scott saying, hi Adam, just joined, what's the news? The news, if anyone is just joining the show, because we have got around about 6,000 in the room with us right now. Don't forget, hit the like button as well, people, while you're at it. Share the video as well. Let's get the communication going in this chat, because updating on what's happening at United, we're hearing at Manchester United, just from sources who we know and people with inside Manchester United, that there are a lot of suitors coming forward for Manchester United. A lot of talking is going on well, the World Cup is on, a lot of negotiating and checks and everything that needs to be done to sell Manchester United is being done, well, it can be, before everyone comes back. Rumour has it a possible deal will be done before the summer transfer window, so at the end of this season. There were rumours that, and this could still happen, there were rumours that there could be something done before Christmas, there could be something done before the January transfer window. All could well be, and everything could move forward depending on who comes forward with the right money for Manchester United. But the big rumour is that Manchester United look like they will have a new suitor in place before the summer transfer window, which still is epic news for Manchester United, let's be honest. We need to have a directionalised structure in place. Recruitment, contracts, etc. have to be a team called based on a solid process. Totally agree with that one, Karan. Cheers for the super chat there on that one. It is exactly that, like I just said. This ownership model and why it's going to take so long is because the whole structure of the football club needs to be changed. Priority number one, the team, the manager, sporting directors, everyone in place to keep United relevant and up there competing on the pitch. Then the infrastructure comes in after that. The youth team, the training ground, the stadium, things like that come second, I think. United, for any ownership model, especially the groups, especially the consortiums, United have to be competing on the pitch to balance them books and have a consistent number going through quarter after quarter after quarter. The fluctuations, because United have been so inconsistent on the pitch financially, is going to put a lot of people off. United have to have an initial investment right into the football team for Ten Hag. United need to be finishing top four every single season and competing as far as we possibly can into competitions. But that's pretty much it in terms of what's happening with the Glazers. Obviously, the January transfer window, and we're hearing that new takeover, new ownership aside, United are still in position to do transfer business in January, which brings us on to obviously the rumours, and Fabrizio Romano was on the show with Mark yesterday talking about Cody Gakpo and the possibility of him coming in January. That is definitely a possibility. Rumour has it, he was talking yesterday around a £50 million bid would get Gakpo. I mean, 3 goals and 3 games from himself this tournament for the Netherlands so far. He looks the real deal. He looks great inside the box as well. I think that's the important thing in all of this. He looks fantastic in the area, and a lot of people have said he's another wide player. And we'll be doing different shows on the United Stand Day coming up shortly, actually, in terms of United's 1s and 2s for certain positions in them front areas, because people are saying he predominantly plays off the left. Yes, that's true. Marcus Rashford, as we've seen last night, is in some of the best form of his career on either flank, right and left for England. Left for United predominantly this season. I think he's got, with his 3 goals in the World Cup so far, leading goal scorer, by the way, in the tournament, joint with Gakpo again and Mbappe. It's good to hear. He scored more goals in a World Cup or major competition internationally than any other Manchester United player in our history now. It's a good turnaround from last season for Marcus Rashford. I think that's 11 in all competitions, club and country this season for him now. He's having a very, very good year. I do think that Rashford, I think he's going to become an option with Martial in the middle for Erik Ten Hag. And I honestly don't know how it's going to break down, because I can actually see Manchester United going for Gakpo. I do believe that that is a signing that Ten Hag wants to make. I think he wanted it in the summer, and I think he wanted it to happen alongside the deal with Antony. I think he wanted that extra option in the top. Actually, I'll just read a couple of super chats out now before we move on this transfer, because I want to get into Gakpo a bit more. Hey Adam, what is your priority order of new signings in terms of their on-field positions, top 5? Let's go through that quickly. Striker, number 1. Centre-back, no. Centre midfield, number 2. Centre-back, number 3. Right-back, number 4. Goalkeeper, number 5. That's the order. I do believe the goalkeeping position, I'm happy with De Gea at the moment. Everyone knows my position on De Gea. I do believe that will be looked at, naturally, because you have to move on. There's a reason why Simone's in goal for Spain under Enrique, and De Gea gets nowhere near the squad. You have to look at that and the progression of football and how it's changing. De Gea is getting better. He has done things this season I didn't think he was doing last season. His saves are his saves. Every goalkeeper should be able to make them, and sounding like Roy Keane a little bit there. But I expect De Gea to be making the saves he is this season. That's not what I've been impressed with De Gea this season. I think it has been his on the ball and sweeper keeper that he has done a little bit more this season as well. So they're my 5. Anyway, another super chat from Glenn. Hi Adam. Rumours the EFL might try and end the 3 p.m. blackouts. If the Premier League follows suit, do you think the TV rights will go up with all the games available? Well, it basically means like women's football can be played at 3 o'clock on a Saturday as well. I think something else will be structured and something will be put in place in terms of how much it will affect the rights and how much money comes in to football clubs. It's progressing season on season on season. There's more and more money, TV revenues are coming in. I do believe, again, going back to the start of the show, I know I've flipped back to the Glazers and the Takeover again, but that's something else that consortiums and the groups will be looking at when it comes to buying Manchester United. They'll be looking at the future and the landscape of Premier League football, EFL, women's football, because let's not forget, when you're buying Manchester United, you're not just buying Manchester United's first team. You've now got the success what the women's team is and what that brings, how they can develop that, because the women's football game is going to go on and on and on and up and up and up as we go on. So this is a buyout not just for Manchester United, Ten Hag, the first team. This buyout now consists of so much more because you've got the women's team involved in all of this. They'll have to look at the landscape of the league going forward and how financial deals are going to be restructured in time, like we said. And then you look at it and go, yeah, okay, I understand why this is going to take a bit of time to get this takeover through the door now. So that's it. That's where I see it. And I see Manchester United looking at all of that in terms of what they're negotiating with suitors right now and everything that comes with that. Super chat from Karan again. I would be happy with a good striker and a backup right back in January. I do believe it's only going to be the striker. I think that's what we're looking at. I think it is just going to solely be the striker, and I think maybe possibly right back in the summer. We talked about it on the show the other day about maybe Ethan Laird coming back. If Wan-Bissaka goes out, I think it will be a permanent. Someone will buy him, maybe 10, 15 million. United have to take that loss. That's their own fault. Ethan Laird will come back in, I think, from loan at QPR. I think that would be a good move. Good understudy too, Dalot. I think did okay on tour as well. We watched him continuously on tour. Nothing major, but nothing dramatic. Either side, good and bad for Ethan Laird on tour. Held his own. He's having a good season now with QPR. QPR are doing well again. So it's good, but I mean, personally, I think we can sell Wan-Bissaka and still not bring Laird back if we have to. I think Malacia's been comfortable enough as a backup right back. You've got Lindelof, who Ten Hag has said can play there. You've still got Brandon Williams. I think Brandon Williams will be out the door in January anyway. I don't see how he survives at the football club any longer. But yeah, we've got options there, and I think we can last it out until the summer is what I'm saying. We cannot take a chance on the forward line, no. We need a striker. Ronaldo is gone. So we do have to buy in January. Otherwise, I think it was Mark who said it at the time, are we writing the season off if we don't buy a striker in January? I agree, I think we are. I think it is a problem. And I do think that Manchester United have to go out now and buy in January. Gakpo, from what Romano has said, looks like Manchester United is done and dusted as long as we come up with that fee. 50 million for a player this young, showing this much potential, on the big stage in the World Cup, scoring goals as well. His numbers this season are up there with anyone's in European football, and you can say it's the Eredivisie, yes, but he's come to the World Cup and he's doing it at the World Cup in one of the weakest Dutch teams that I've seen at a World Cup in a long time. So you've got to give credit to that as well. They're not creating chances, but when he gets one, it usually goes in the net. 50 million for him, not a bad deal, to be fair, not a bad deal. Romano's also talking regarding Enzo Fernandez. I mean, he had a brilliant little cameo when he came on against Mexico the other day, scored a phenomenal goal. He is, what I was told was Bruno Fernandes just on a different level. That's what we're getting if we go for Fernandes. The problem you've got is Benfica do know how to produce players and do know how to balance their books in terms of taking advantage of the price when it comes to them players leaving their club. It's how they run, it's how they built their stadium. and got so far and are competing in the Champions League all the time. They have a conveyor belt of young talent which comes. We can think of the players that have come from Benfica. Off the top of my head, David Luiz, Di Maria. Now Fernandez is going to be the next one in line. I think Lindelof came from there as well. Say what you want, but still, in terms of how Benfica make things work, look at the money that they made on all of them players. 80 to 85 million for a young kid like Enzo Fernandez. That's a huge investment. 80 to 85 million for Fernandez, or would you spend 15, 20 million more and bring Bellingham in? That's why I don't think United are going to be able to get Fernandez. I think if he has a great World Cup and carries on in the form that he showed when he came on against Mexico for Argentina, then we've got a great chance of buying a potential world-class player. Someone is going to buy him. That's the thing. Are Manchester United in a position to fork out that much money? With new ownership, we probably could, and it wouldn't be much of an issue. But I guarantee someone will buy Enzo Fernandez. Are Manchester United going to miss the boat again with another young player? I can easily see a Real Madrid, PSG sort of model coming in for Enzo Fernandez. They will have the money to do it. Personally, I would put, with the midfield options that Real Madrid have got now and how much they've invested to Amini, Camavinga, people like that, but still Modric and Kroos are actually coming to an end. Will they go out and buy another midfield, another dynamic one? You've got easily sell-on value with Enzo Fernandez. It's just that initial 85 million. It sounds like a lot, doesn't it? But what a player. Still think we need another creative mid, says Rob Smooth. I think I just touched on that with Enzo Fernandez. He is a box-to-box, out-and-out number 8. He's brilliant. He's great on the ball. We've seen in the World Cup and the goal he scored for Argentina. That's what he can do. He's been doing that for Benfica. And I think we all picked him out as one to watch at the start of this World Cup. But he is definitely a player that Manchester United would be better with in their team. I can imagine a midfield of but 2 Fernandez. The Fernandez duo in midfield would be off the scale brilliant for us. I think we just add a completely different dynamic to Manchester United's game. But I don't think United are going to be... I just don't see us buying him. I really don't. I think if Bellingham is available, Bellingham comes first. And that takes Enzo Fernandez completely out of the equation. If City go in, like the rumour has it, and goes and gets Bellingham, Manchester United do have to consider Enzo Fernandez as a serious option, in my opinion, because we do need that other midfielder. Like the Super Chat just said then, we need that extra creative midfield spark, but he has bite and he has speed and energy. His work rate is off the scale phenomenal. So United have to be looking at him, and that pretty much sums up the transfer news. There is rumour about Felix, George Mendes being João Felix's agent. We've seen the unrest at Atletico Madrid. We know what's going on there. The possibility of getting Felix has come onto the table a bit, but it's been said now, and Romano said this as well. He said, look, Felix is going to be a permanent deal. How much is that going to cost? I mean, the investment that Atleti put into João Felix, it was upwards of 100 million, if I can remember right. Someone may correct me on that one, but I know it was a very, very significant sum of money. Are you going to get that back? Do you know what I mean? That's what Atleti want, and I don't think a loan deal is on the cards right now, which I think would suit Manchester United a little bit better, personally. I think we will be open to that deal, with maybe an option to buy later down the line. Gakpo coming in, I think Felix is off the table. I think United need to invest in midfield, central midfield, not really Felix's area. It's going to be a tricky one where João Felix goes. I'd love him at Manchester United. I think he's an absolutely brilliant player. He's shown it in the World Cup again so far. But I think it's a bridge too far for Manchester United. I don't think we will be able to facilitate that deal. And as shame as it is, because there is some really, really good players actually on the market and available. They're all going to be going for massive, massive amounts of money, obviously, but the players on the market right now, I would say, are players that can improve Manchester United's first 11, and it is an exciting time to be a United fan, obviously with the ownership model, but United now have fully committed themselves behind Ten Hag. Whether this takeover deal was going or it wasn't, we have been told there has been a massive, massive change behind the scenes at Manchester United, and they are fully backing Erik Ten Hag. And the proof is in the pudding and the eating, because they backed Ten Hag in terms of what he said and how he punished Cristiano Ronaldo. That would never happen under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, Jose Mourinho, Ralph Rangnick, anyone, Louis van Gaal even. The club would never have gone behind the player's back over the manager. It was just the way it was. For Manchester United to back Ten Hag in terms of how he punished Cristiano Ronaldo, and then deal with the Ronaldo situation after that interview so quickly and swiftly, and not even question the manager's position in this, shows you that there is a change at Manchester United. The power is going back to where it needs to be, and that's the hot seat in the dugout, the manager, the number one position. As Sir Alex Ferguson said, the number one at the football club. Talked about the structure that comes behind it, and hopefully Ten Hag can build on that with the new ownership, but it is all about backing the manager, and the football club have done that, and they've done it big with Cristiano Ronaldo and what's happened there. I'm just going to bring up the last story of the day, because David Ornstein from The Athletic, just to finish things off, was up till 2 a.m. in the morning putting this interview together with Luke Shaw. No one really knew, and it's a great article on the United Twitter feed right now. We've got the link to David Ornstein in there on this story. We've tweeted it out, so you can click on David Ornstein's tag there and just go and look at that interview in full on The Athletic. But yeah, he's interviewed Luke Shaw, and Luke Shaw's been talking about his grandma and how much it's affected him. But he's actually said his grandma's death, his untimely death of his grandma, which was just a couple of days before the World Cup, he's used it as his motivation. And Luke Shaw's talked about it. All the tweets are up there on the United Stand in detail, guys, so you can actually look at them. We'll try and put a couple of them up on screen for you now as well. But Luke Shaw talking about the time of the death of his grandma, how it might affect him and how he's dealt with it. And Ornstein has gone in detail on this, and it's a brilliant interview, so do go and have a look at it, guys. It is it's sad to have to deal with it. You can see it on your screen there now. Luke Shaw has said the memory of his grandmother is motivating him to play well at the World Cup after she passed away shortly before England's opening match of the tournament. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine someone who you were very close to passing away, and then to produce the performance and performances, because I think he's been one of England's most consistent players, Luke Shaw. He's the player that has really turned his career around again this season for United. He's taken it into the England setup, and you can see, I don't think there's one Manchester United player that's had a bad World Cup yet. I really don't think there has, and it's massive, massive credit to Ten Hag. You can see the other quotes there now up on your screen. Luke Shaw, my nan sadly passed away before the tournament. She had cancer for a long while, and unfortunately she passed away just before the first game. These are all quotes from David Ornstein's interview, guys. Do check it out. But it just goes to show, doesn't it, the mentality of Manchester United players now. Being able to handle things better, being able to put themselves out on the pitch and perform, not just for Manchester United in the Manchester United shirt, but in the England shirt as well. And it's a credit to Ten Hag and how he's got into the player's psyche, and I feel like every single United player now can handle things a lot better. You only have to listen to Marcus Rashford in the interview after he scored his goals yesterday in the England game, and how he was talking about his friend who died and why he went down on his knees and looked up to the sky after he scored. I think Manchester United mentally, the players, are so much stronger this season. They're dealing with a lot more. They're feeling like they can come out and talk, and this is what I meant in terms of how the club has changed. The players, the interaction with the players, and how transparent the players are now with fans, with talking to the media. It just seems to have changed completely. And as bad news as that is with Luke Shaw, I feel like he's had the confidence to come out only a week after it happened, in the midst of a tournament, and talk to David Ornstein with The Athletic and actually come out with and talk about this personal matter. Rashford the same instantly after the game, but look how they are playing. Look how they are dealing with things. They seem to be in a completely different mindset and a much better place playing at Manchester United. And I've never seen so many Manchester United players go to a World Cup or any international break, whether it be friendlies or a Euros or the World Cup, and look so good. The players that have been playing well for United have taken that into the World Cup and are playing with their nations that way. And I just feel like the club as a whole has changed, and I think the ownership model and everything that's coming in the takeover will only will only be a positive for Manchester United going forward. But that Luke Shaw interview is a good one. That just goes to show the amount of work that the journalists put in going over there to the World Cup. I mean, even Laurie Whitwell, who is playing trains and automobiles, he documented that from driving from Manchester to Qatar. Took him so long, how many weeks, the amount of work that they put in, especially people from the Athletic that we've seen, and David Ornstein, like I said in this interview with Luke Shaw, the amount of work that they put in, the hours, the late nights, the stories that they bring us and working alongside us, and then we can bring and relay that to you on the United Stand as well. This goes to show that, you know what, you need something from the other side. You need the players to come forward and do that interview with the journalists. You need them players, and I just feel like they are now more comfortable in doing it, and it's changed. The football club is changing. Manchester United are miles behind everybody else. We know this, but there is a change in tact and there is a change within this football club right now, and the mentality of the players is moving along with that, and that's all credit to Ten Hag and his team and the way that Manchester United are actually adapting and working alongside the manager finally, it would seem. Yeah, we've had the problems with Ronaldo and what's that brought and what that comes with, but can you imagine before, like, the unrest that there would be in the dressing room with such a player of Ronaldo's stature actually doing what he's done, and then what that effect had, the effect it had on the players going forward. It has not really affected United in any way, shape or form. They have dealt with it and put it aside and moved on quickly, and that for me is the biggest point out of all of this. But yeah, that is where the club needs to go. It's a start. It's still a lot to do at Manchester United, obviously. Hopefully new ownerships and new owners coming in with a different structure will be able to implement that even more and take that to the next level. All I'm saying is it's good signs for Manchester United right now. Like the players, it all shows on the pitch. When everything's going well on the pitch, you don't seem to talk about what's going off it that much. But the players are actually talking about their problems off the pitch and what's been going on. And I know there's an element of saying, well, it's easy to talk when you're winning. It is. I understand that side of things. But, you know what I mean? Players don't need to talk about what's going on behind the scenes, but they are. And like I said, we are here at the United Stands, here to bring you all the updates that we can from the contacts that we've made, like people like David Ornstein, Laurie Whitwell, everyone, whether it be the MEN, all the Telegraph. We've brought you all the interviews on here. We're just looking to take us forward to the next level and bring you all the information that we get as well, working alongside the people in the know, even more so than what we are. But that pretty much is it, guys. It's been a blast. It's flown by. Oh, sorry, yes. We have, being the 30th of November, got our Christmas specials on our Shopify. The link is in the description below. Get your Christmas United Stand jumpers. You know you need one. You know you want one. Come on. I mean, I can't believe I've not been given one to sport on the show here, to be fair. I mean, this goes to show, doesn't it? There's obviously improvements we need here on the United Stand as well, isn't there? I mean, kitting the staff out, one of them. I would have gladly donned it and put it on and shown you guys what it was, but if you just click on the link in the description below, it is there. We have got the special offer on right now. Oh, look, there you go. It's on your screen right now as well. It's like if magic, it's there right in front of you. Link in the description, guys. Get your Christmas jumper. Hopefully, we'll be able to wear ours all through December, cheering on England, and then back when we come back on, what is it, the 21st against Burnley in the Carabao Cup. We'll all be sporting our Christmas jumpers and bringing the Christmas spirit to the subscribers here on the United Stand as well. But a quick super chat just in there before we go from Karan again. Cheers for your super chats today, Karan. I think that's your third one. Much appreciated. Can we look at a list of players we can sell in January and at what price? That video will be coming up as well soon, Karan, while the World Cup is going on. Obviously, you've seen us all on That's Football. Do subscribe to the United Stand and That's Football. We will be bringing you all the updates of everything going on, whether it be have we got another super chat? Sorry, I'm just double checking, make sure I've covered everyone before we finish. So Charlie Max, sorry, missed you, Charlie. Forgive me, I was talking about Christmas jumpers and got excited. It's what it is. More pressing issues at hand. We desperately need a number 9. I repeat, number 9, not Gakpo, not Felix, not Enzo. We're not going to get Felix. We're not going to get Enzo. Gakpo can play as a number 9 though, Charlie. That's the difference. We have got Martial. We probably will have Rashford as an option. We can integrate him in as a number 9. His goals have come in this World Cup from that position as well. I do understand where you're coming from though. An actual out-and-out number 9. Adam, United top 4, question mark. Yes, if we buy a striker. We go. We will. 1 second, I'm getting constant updates right now. Oh, sorry, another super chat there from a member, in fact. Do you think new owners, this is from Denner Red, says, do you think new owners might want to change the management? Love the show and keep up the good work. Love from South Africa. Cheers for that, mate. Really appreciate that. Love all the praise. I don't think they will change the management model. You look at it right now, Manchester United are actually progressing on the pitch. We're performing better. Seen the table go up. This time last season, I think it was put up for Arsenal reasons. Game week 16, look the difference from last season. Well, it is game week 16, but we've only played 14 games. And Manchester United are just a point off where we was after 16 games last season. So the improvement is there. Don't forget, this is where the demise started last season of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. The end of autumn, early winter was when everything started going wrong. And United have already progressed past the points teller we had at that stage. And we're looking like we're going up and up and up. So yes, I think United will make top 4. If we buy a striker, we will definitely make top 4. But guys, that pretty much finishes the video. Cheers for coming along and watching this morning with us. Give the video a like, share the video, and obviously subscribe to the United Stand. I will be back later for the finale to the France group. So France, Denmark, Tunisia and Australia, who is going through. We know France are through. It's going to be between Denmark and Tunisia. We'll be covering that game on That's Football later with Charlie. We'll be on from 2:45 this afternoon. So do please come over and watch that. See if I can scare the living hell out of Charlie again with my antics watching football matches. Sorry, I belong in a stadium. It's just me. I'm a bit crazy when it comes to on-set stuff. So they just have to deal with it. And obviously, Mark isn't here, like I said at the start of this video, because he's filming with Ben Foster currently. That video will be out later today. So, jam-packed day of content for you on both of our platforms, here on United Stand and That's Football. Stay tuned. Oh, if you're not a subscriber and you've not pressed the bell notification, it won't come up on your phone, tablet or laptop. So, subscribe, click the bell notification button, and that's it. All your troubles will be over. Everything up to date and on point. I said on United Stand Twitter feed is everything that we've spoken about today. You do need to go over and double check that, have a good read, especially the Luke Shaw interview with David Ornstein from The Athletic. That is a fantastic read. Guys, that's it for now though. Cheers for watching, cheers for tuning in everybody. I'll see you later this afternoon on That's Football. Big day ahead, but for now, I'll see you later.